They say the Grand Canyon doesn't just test your legs, it tests your intentions. And if you've been out there, you already know there's no hiding from yourself below the rim. But what if you didn't tell anyone what you were planning? Not your wife, not your daughter, not even the people hiking beside you. Well, that's what Gordo Barcomb did. My name is Brian Special, and this is his story.
hiKin Grand Canyon Tales from Below is brought to you by hiKin. Hiking plus kinship. That's hiKin. Join the conversation in our hiKin Grand Canyon Facebook group or at hikin.club. That's hiKin, HIKIN.club.
It started, fittingly, on Christmas morning 2023. Gordo, now 56, stood in front of his family and made a simple announcement. I want to knock a bucket list item off before I get any older. He invited them all to join. Only one daughter signed on, but that was enough. He recruited a few close friends and their partners, and the team was set, 6 in all. The plan, a 4-day rim-to-rim crossing of the Grand Canyon, south to north, 2 nights below the rim, a shuttle back to the car, then home. Simple, right? But plans evolve, especially canyon plans. Soon, it turned into a road trip. 2 nights on the South Rim, 3 nights below, and 2 nights on the North Rim, including a final evening at the Grand Canyon Lodge on May 15th, opening day of the season. This was turning into something big. So Gordo started training, treadmills, stair climbing, then podcasts. That's where he found us, and perhaps more importantly, where he found Coach Arnie. Now, if you've heard Coach Arnie on this show, you know he doesn't just talk about fitness. He talks about mindset. Well, Gordo reached out, expecting maybe a reply down the line. But just a few hours later, Arnie called him back directly. And what followed wasn't a pep talk. It was a recalibration. Gordo's goal at the time? Just get out of the canyon without assistance. But Arnie challenged that. He reshaped the training, rebuilt the focus, and somewhere in all that, without making a big deal about it, Gordo planted a seed. After the hike with my crew, could I hike back to the South Rim in 1 day by myself? Well, he didn't say that out loud. He barely admitted it to himself. But the idea took root. And so quietly, he began to train for something no one else on his team even knew about. Fast forward to May 2025. The group sets out. Bright Angel Trail, May 11th. It's not an easy route. First night, Havasupai Gardens. Next day, the Tonto Traverse, hot and exposed. Then past Phantom Ranch to a brutal ascent to Clear Creek for the night. Then Cottonwood. Finally, on May 14th, they topped out on the North Rim, all thrilled with what they had just accomplished. They stayed at the campground on the North Rim, and the next day, the 15th, they checked into Grand Canyon Lodge. Pure luxury after 4 nights in the elements. The energy up there, electric. Gordo called it fun and a vibe. He even ran into me on the porch, though neither of us thought to take a selfie. Probably for the best. Canyon hair isn't exactly camera ready. Now here's where the story pivots. It had been a long journey already, 4 days across the canyon, with a tight-knit group that laughed, sweated, and stretched out every mile together. They'd made it to the North Rim, shared stories around cabins and tents, and soaked in the quiet satisfaction of finishing something that few people ever even start. Then, as the sun dipped low and the evening cooled, Gordo stood in front of his team, his daughter, his friends, and cleared his throat. There was a lull in the conversation, just long enough for him to step into it. And then he said it out loud. I've got one more hike to do. A one-day rim-to-rim, solo. No one knew, not until now. And in that moment, when he might have expected doubt or worry, he was met with cheers, high fives, and the kind of encouragement that lifts your spine and steadies your legs. His team believed in him, and just like that, he believed in himself a little bit more too. That was it. Gordo was going back in, this time solo, this time in one day, this time without telling a soul until the night before. His daughter Chantel was the only one he gave veto power to. She said, go for it. So at 3:30 a.m., Gordo stood at the North Kaibab trailhead, headlamp on, heart pounding. His only goal? Make it to Phantom Ranch before the worst of the heat. He got there in 4.5 hours. After a quick 30-minute break, he loaded up with nearly 5 liters of water and pressed on toward the tip-off. The temperature was rising, 78 degrees on paper, but under the canyon sun, it felt much hotter. Every bit of shade mattered. Every rock overhang was a gift. He wasn't trying to set records. He was just trying to finish. But somewhere deep onto South Kaibab, the finish line inched closer, and so did something else. It was Chantel. After driving to the South Rim with the rest of the group, she'd hiked down to meet him. Just past Uwa Point, she stood waiting and smiling. It gave Gordo a second wind. He hadn't told anyone, not even her, that his real goal was to finish in under 12 hours. Now, with this boost of energy, he had a shot. Together, they pushed, father and daughter, one goal at a time, one switchback at a time. And just after 3 p.m., 11 hours and 43 minutes after stepping off the North Rim, Gordo topped out. No assistance, no fanfare, just a quiet triumph and a well-earned rest. He says he's no speed demon, but what he is steady, focused, and gutsy enough to keep a promise to himself, even if no one else knew it existed. So here's to Gordo, and to anyone out there training in secret, dreaming a little bigger than they're ready to admit. Just remember, there's no such thing as a small step in the canyon. Only steps that matter. You've been listening to hiKin Grand Canyon, Tales from Below the Rim. If Gordo's story moved you or taught you something, please pass it on. And if you've got your own trail-tested tale to tell, well, maybe you're next. This tale was weaved directly from Gordo's trip report in our hiKin Grand Canyon Facebook group. We are always listening. My name is Brian Special. Until next time, hike smart, hike with heart, and remember that your hiKin community is with you every step of the way.